What up YouTube? Today I'm going to cover some of the mechanics surrounding villages in All Out War. I have seen a lot of confusion surrounding villages and fortresses in the Discord over the last couple of days, so I thought I would make a video covering how they actually work. So villages are the backbone of the event. The majority of the map is just covered in these little things, and you need to take a village to be able to continue progressing through the map to be able to take more buildings. So to take a village that's not currently controlled by your faction, all you do is click on it, and then you would press A or click this button down here. That would normally be a symbol of a sword. That is to start the occupation process. We control all of the villages that we can actually reach right now, and I'm not going to discard one just for the sake of making a video. But normally, once you click that button, an occupation bar will appear above it, just like in Siege of Winterfell. You then pour all of your armies in and start to fill that bar up. Once that bar reaches full, the village will flip to your colour and fall under your control. However, it is not currently counting as adjacency to go on to take more villages or take buildings. For it to count as adjacent, you will have to repair the village. Repairing the village works just like building chariots or upgrading constructions. There's a certain number of points, in this case 1,080,000, and every army doing the task will add 10 points per second. Now, I've heard that there is a limit of 72 armies per village. I've not been able to verify that because I don't have that many active players in my faction. If that is the case, then that would mean there's a minimum time per village of 25 minutes, which is really going to be quite problematic once the rest of the map opens in a couple days' time. I suspect a lot of factions will try to play like they do in Glorious Battle, where they just rush out and take every building that they can occupy as quickly as they can as soon as the bubbles drop in a couple days' time. However, if you're thinking of a minimum of 25 minutes per village, then, taking this first building, sure, that's not going to take too long, then 25 minutes, then taking this next building, and then, you're looking 3 villages, maybe 2 if this one counts adjacent to that one, to look at the next buildings, and it's going to take a long time for your faction to actually make significant progress in here, especially if you're trying to come out of both these gates at once, pushing down here and down here, then you're looking at a long time, even if you've got the maximum number of players in every village. So I suspect that any European-based faction is going to really struggle to get the map occupied. Anyway, now that we have covered villages and how they're relevant to the event, we're going to move on to fortresses. This is a fortress built by our neighbouring Shadow faction. They've actually built it inside their protected home area, so we could never attack it in the first place. Bit of a waste of resources, but if they want to spend the resources on that, that's up to them. Now you will note that this fortress already has a health bar, whereas if we were to look at a gate or any other buildings controlled by the Shadow faction, they do not have a health bar. What does this mean? This means that we are already hostile to that fortress. We do not need to declare war on it, we are hostile all of the time. And since this fortress is protecting adjacent villages, if you look over to this one up here, you'll notice that it will have a bubble. That means even if we were adjacent to it, which we cannot physically be due to the way the map works, even if we were, we would not be able to declare war on it. I wonder if we'll get... No, it says not an adjacent area. If we were adjacent, it says something around the village being protected. But if we want to attack it, what we need to do is send some armies here to attack this fortress. As soon as this durability reaches 0, the fortress is destroyed and it goes back to an ordinary village, and all of the adjacent ones it was previously protecting are now treated as ordinary villages as well. This is not how a lot of people seem to think it works, according to the Discord. There's a lot of people surprised that the fortresses they spent resources on have suddenly been destroyed, they're not there anymore, when they weren't informed of a declaration or anything like that. That's because there is no declaration for fortresses. If you build a fortress, you have to station an army there to protect it the entire time, and you need someone watching those armies to make sure they've not been killed. So all fortresses really accomplish is narrowing the front on which enemies can attack you. If you're looking at the wider map when there's a lot of villages, then suddenly building a fortress here so they have to attack this specific one rather than being able to go around the outside of it makes it a lot more easy to defend with fewer armies than if you're trying to put armies in each of those villages to stop them being occupied. But I've seen a lot of people saying that it's a bug that fortresses can be attacked at all, and they seem to think that building 2 fortresses next to each other should make them completely invulnerable. Obviously, that's not the way they were intended to work. If they worked that way, then as soon as these bubbles dropped in a couple of days' time, the first faction to go out and put fortresses in front of adjacent gates would suddenly lock them off and make them completely unable to play the rest of the event. That's obviously not how they're intended to work. They are just meant to help you narrow the front, to only have to protect 1 or 2 locations rather than 20 or 30 villages. That is about everything I wanted to cover in this video, so thank you guys for watching, and let me know in the comments if you've got any questions.